And so, probably because they won't have enough, they don't want a supermajority, they're not going to get anything done. But we're sitting here as a nation not exactly kicking butt right now.
Well, the jump on it was early 90s. That's the thing. The jump on this was 20 years ago. And so we missed that jump in a lot of ways. And then we really missed it between 2000 and 2000 and, whatever, 8, 10, 9, this last year. So, we're literally 20 years behind the rest of the world on these things. And America's not used to being 20 years behind. So we keep kind of thinking, oh, we'll catch up. Naturally, we'll just catch up. There's this level of we'll think our way out of this one or something, but it's not happening. I mean, all of our manufacturing is offshore. All of our, our gross national product is like garbage. Like one of our #1 exports is trash. I mean, this is the reality of our country right now, you guys. I mean, it's very, very frightening. And like those of us, again, who are in the thinker class or whatever, creative class, or all these different things. I mean, it's up to us because people are looking to us to make these changes, whether it's in policy or economics or all the above, And so, the time is now for all these things, and that's why what we're doing with algae is so urgent right now because there's literally, with climate change, it's a real thing that's really happening. Our economy is in the toilet and our national security is jeopardized. China, like Tom pointed to, has so much intellectual property of ours, and I mean, that's a key part of our algae strategy is to keep all of the initial production domestic, keep all the jobs domestic, keep the money domestic, because why on earth would we come up with the secret sauce that's going to solve everything and then give it to another country that's not necessarily our ally?
The United States' entrepreneurship culture is the envy of the world, and our graduate schools are the envy of the world still, not the colleges, but the graduate schools. Now, our immigration policy is a little twisted right now because, when we used to take those good folks who got their masters and PhDs and provide them wonderful environment here within immigration, and that has been altered since 9/11. Now it's we're going on the 10-year anniversary of that soon, and we're just at a time where we probably need to we're going to be short on workers here in the United States, both at the low end and in health services, caring for the elderly, particularly as the baby boomers go. In 20 years, you're going to have a shortage of workers in the United States, not a abundance of immigrants who are stealing jobs from America. And at the high end, in Silicon Valley startups from 96 to 2001, 67% had a foreign national among the either as founder or co-founder. And if we turn our back on that, it's a problem. But Japan's earthquake is interesting because that's the world's 3rd largest economy, and they're shutting nuclear off, and they're going to fossil fuel. They're going to have to. So what that's going to do is put pressure on pricing. Now, the people who are the innovators in renewable energy look at this as yet another window of opportunity, because the United States actually has to think about how much it costs to pay for this crap. Then the pressure, the political pressure, and the willingness of government to let loose the entrepreneurs.
Well, the real cost, like you're saying, like the real cost, we're talking about the Czech Republic, like John mentioned the Czech Republic, well, that's the real cost. Yeah. The Czech Republic's not subsidizing oil or gas or coal or any of this stuff, and so the United States would cease to subsidize fossil fuel and really do it, not just talk about it or think about it, but actually do it. Overnight, I tell you what, all of this other stuff would be promoted very, very quickly. And so, again, it's a matter of just shifting these priorities and shifting these policies. I think it has to come from a policy base, it has to come from a grassroots base like the CFEDC and local kind of groups, and then it has to come from a global plan. All those 3 pieces have to match up, and I think that's what the edict of the CFEDC is, really, to do those things. So, with that.
What about the transmission line?
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely an issue, and Tom touched on that to a degree. Sadly, it doesn't include North Carolina right now, but there was in terms of investment, Google and a private investment firm, I don't know if you know the name off the top of my head, I think based in New York, just starting a phase 1 project, hundreds of millions of dollars, I think over a course of years, putting billions in creating a transmission line backbone. So there's an investment opportunity for the transmission line, and from what I've heard, North Carolina is overdue to do an upgrade of a lot of its systems. So it's kind of the right time to be looking at how we upgrade our grid system and then our electrical transmission lines. But the interesting thing about the backbone, which if anyone knows anyone at Google, would be like, why didn't we come down to North Carolina and do this since we have the best potential? But the backbone provides a stable set of nodes, basically, where you can add on capacity over years. So you can start with a small wind farm, but keep adding on. You don't have to do it piecemeal by piecemeal. You have
Scalable and modular is key, because that's the thing is you have a bridge between now and then. And that's the thing too with, again, with wind or algae or any of these technologies, people are like, this is 3 to 5 years away. Well, we don't have 3 to 5 years. Again, we really don't. And so, like you're saying, it's key to this technology and to being, first movers as far as the United States is concerned, is scalability and having modular capability to get it online quickly.
And you can do solar at your house. Is there any kind of equivalent that you anticipate for wind at all in the future?
In terms of residential usage?
Yeah.
You have to be mountaintop or coastal,
Or
maybe with small turbines.
Use.
I can't speak to that necessarily in an area of authority, since my work is mainly on looking at offshore, more commercial scale farms. It is a sizability issue and scale issue with wind, just to make it more cost competitive. And then a big component of wind has been a NIMBY component, so aesthetics, sound, other vibration tendencies. That's been an issue in onshore facilities. So when you locate facilities 20, 30 miles offshore, you kind of undercut all of those issues.
Well, I don't know, because I read an article about a group of engineers and geneticists that had developed a new tree where the leaves would actually illuminate and replace streetlights.
I mean, there's a lot of technology. I know in terms of, for small scale wind, I know the vertical axis turbines, the ones we are looking at, the horizontal ones, vertical axis, I think kind of more of a usage in residential or small
A
scale.
company here won a grant. I believe Richard Hollander, I know this guy, he was one of the co-founders of Visionaire, and he got a Green Business Innovation Fund grant. Because I talked to Marty Hollingsworth, another local entrepreneur, and he said that that's what Richard was into, and it was like literally what you're describing, buddy, a wind device for a home. And in some of the European countries, they literally they all have their wind thing, and then they're actually getting paid money because they're net producers of energy. And I think it's not a per unit basis. So some of the coastal places maybe in the British Isles, that they figured that out first. But I need to look into that because Marty told me that today, Richard.
Does y'all have a wind machine here?
Micro wind is notoriously unreliable is the problem. I mean, we do have some resources with, oceanfront houses for sure would be good candidates. You get any bid inland, and you run into that notion of people say, oh my gosh, it's windy here, so this would be a great place to put a little turbine.
But it's not windy.
And it's
you have that class 4 and 5 winds.
Yeah, they don't understand the wind.
Or at the coast,
Low speed winds don't do anything for you in terms of wind production. You need high speed sustained
You'll
winds.
see it's in class 4 and 5, and you're looking at the Appalachian Trail, you're looking at the whole Midwest, it's like the same kind of map that
Seems like
Zach put
everybody's
up.
inherent.
The Zach put up, that's where,
Peril where those transmission lines and Mount Cox, and how you get the energy from where it is in the remote environmental locations to where the people are. That just seems like
Yeah, the idea with offshore wind is, we talked about onshore wind for decades in the United States and had a large capacity for it, but most of that is in the Midwest, the middle of our country, where I lived in South Dakota for about 3 months working on land-based renewable energy wind issues. There are 800,000 people in that entire state. I probably met all of them while I was there. And it's hundreds and hundreds of miles from where we all live, which is mainly on the coast. So when you're talking about putting large-scale renewable energy projects 30 miles off the coast, you're getting the energy to the population centers in a shorter distance, so your efficiency is better, and you're not, creating transmission lines all throughout the country outwards. So that's one of the other benefits.
not chopping trees down to get them.
Yeah. So that's one of the benefits of coastal wind, just in terms of the population centers.